Continuing our study of the Seminar of Jacques Lacan, Book 1, Freud's Papers on Technique, 1953 to 1954. This time we're looking at Chapter 13, titled The Seesaw of Desire. Lacan explains that his trajectory this whole time has been to start, quote, from the Freudian text and try to put before you here a problematic, end quote. That quote on page 164. As long as Lacan has stayed on topic, he's provided acute readings of Freud's primary text, as well as those who have developed Freudian psychotherapy in his wake. Until now, he has done close readings of the work of Anna Freud and Melanie Klein, and although Lacan disagrees with the use that they have made of Freudian psychotherapy, they provide for him a valuable contrast to what he thinks is of the essence in what Freud was trying to develop. Next, Lacan summarizes some of the points he has made so far about the ego. We can see this on page 166. Lacan tells us that the ego has formed in the subject during the mirror stage. It is a misrecognition of self, constructed by the fiction of the pronoun I. Lacan says on page 166, quote, "The I is constituted at first in a linguistic experience in reference to the you. This takes place within a relation in which the other shows him orders, desires, which he must recognize, his fathers, his mothers, his educators, or his peers and mates, desires, wishes, and so on." This ego formation leads the subject astray because it means that he misrecognizes his own wants and wishes. Lacan says, also on page 166, quote, "It is clear that at the beginning the chances are extremely slight that the subject will achieve recognition for his own, for his desires, except in the most immediate manner. We don't know anything, at least when we begin, about the precise point of resonance where, in the little subject's way of thinking, the individual is to be found. It is precisely that which makes him so unhappy." End quote. According to Lacan, this is part of the human psychodrama. We're born into a world that's not our own, and as soon as we develop beyond our animal senses, which is very early on, we begin to misidentify ourselves in terms of how the other sees us, the abstract other, which is the world of laws and rules and authority figures. We form our ego in view of this other and think this ego is who we are, and that every desire that passes our mind is our own. We don't realize that these desires come from without. Lacan goes on to say on page 167, quote, "When we say that the ego hasn't a clue about the subject's desires, that is, our true desires, it is because the examination of the experience in Freud's work teaches us that. This particular ignorance is not ignorance pure and simple, it is misrecognition. Misrecognition is not ignorance. Misrecognition represents a certain organization of affirmations and negations to which the subject is attached. The meanings we assume things to have come about through this world and through this world of misrecognition. This is the space where we misrecognize our own desires." And Lacan says on page 170, quote, "Before desire learns to recognize itself through the symbol, it is seen solely in the other." End quote. This is why it is so important for the subject to bring his desires to full speech through the therapeutic process. He must render those unconscious desires into the symbolic register. There's much more to be said, but that is rich enough for now. Let's stop there. Thank you for listening.